together for it. Can they afford it? And then really start that collaboration between Concrete and GC day one.
I can give you my 2 cents. I looked at your TAC plan. I looked at your production on like the walls, for instance. It's exactly what I have plugged in my estimates. So I think we're on the same page there, at least high level on that production. The handset I would put a little bit slower, just those walls that are in the, that middle ramp, right, on the slab grade that are kind of weird. Those are the only handset ones you have. I'd slow those down a little bit, right? But
it makes sense because they're pretty cut up, right? And it's not like you can run a continuous whaler all the way across. Yeah.
So I think we're pretty close there. The only thing I would say, Jeff, is I'm pretty high on my number right now. Compared to like my conceptual estimate I did, they added a lot of scope, right? They made it a basement where before it wasn't.
Sure.
And so my question is going to be, and I'm having to do this on the TSMC tip pads right now, is I have to do a competitive labor rate. I have to look at our GRGC, see what superintendent, what FE we can put on the GC, if one of them, if not both, if what our options are, because it really does affect our pricing. And so the labor rate, the GRGC, if we can get some of it on the GRGC out, that would be my biggest asks on this one. So.
Yeah, and I think, hey, these are great talking points that we can carry forward to the team to say, okay, guys, on the GC side of the world, what can you guys carry? Can you help us out? And if not, maybe it's an internal discussion, and that's where we can, lean on Chris a bit and say, hey, we know we need to do this job. What can we do? What is the bare minimum? Can we carry? Do we have work on other jobs or codes on other jobs where we can potentially carry somebody? Anyway, we can get creative, but I think let's start with the current ASM team to figure out an approach to this thing, because we can't just say, we're just going to be high and the team's not going to want to allow us to do the job and we're $5 million more than the next guy. So that's just silly.
Because if we leave it how it sits, I'm going to be $1 million higher than Suntech, right? Just that's
potentially
the fact of the matter. The way our rates, kind of work out.
Yep.
So
Totally.
And it's the job size, right? It's because it's a competitive garage, right? If it was an LG or an ASM or something, it would be a little different. I mean, a bigger job. Okay.
Cool.
Were we changing some of the sequencing? Was that what the?
No. So actually, what I would love is I know Audie spent some time with kind of the sequence and the schedule, and I actually would really like to see his plan, and then I'd like to see where we're different, and let's have that discussion on what makes sense. What sequence do we want to follow? I'm a believer that if we can figure out the right sequence for the project, we can get all of the trade partners bought into it, get the rebar guys to fab their bar per our sequence. It is a lot easier to execute the job, especially when we have the whole train moving down the tracks together in one direction versus we show up to the job and we're doing this and everybody else is doing something different.
Yep. Well, on that note, Jeff, I'm pretty much the same as what you shot over at the beginning of the week. I mean, it's within a day or two. So, and I like what you did with the foundation. That's what I kind of came up with. I ran 2 different scenarios, but the better of the 2 is combining some of them and making them a little bit bigger, so we're not pouring every day or every other day. We got a couple days in there between them, and we're getting more. The only other thing that I looked at was not really worrying about the handset part of it. That's going to be its own timeline. As soon as we get that where we can start on the gang form walls, we hit those. Those are going to be our main concern, because we can always complete the handset even if it runs a little longer than what we have on the set schedule. We'll still be all right.
Yep. I do agree with that.
So that
Is
plan
getting that
A
gate
that
form
you had,
going.
yeah, that plan A you had, perfect. Just, I think that's the best scenario we can go with.
Okay. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. I think that'd be cool.
And I'm happy with it. So that's something that it's good. It was, I mean, it was, I think a day. I think the only day that it was different was you have us starting on Labor Day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much, that was pretty much the only difference. There might be a couple pours in there that were off by a day from what I had, but it all ends us stripping the last wall form that Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yep. Which I think is doable. And there's a couple of unknowns. I mean, the two unknowns that I have is, where's rebar in all of this? I don't think anybody's reached out to any rebar guy, right? And kind of what I'm gathering down there is it's about 2 to 3 weeks. So by the time we tell them we can get shop drawings pushed through and we can get bar on site, I don't know if that's true or not. So I'd say, in the next few weeks, we probably need to be getting the rebar guys cut loose. And my goal is to get that commitment from Glenn and the team next week. And we're moving forward with, okay, we're doing this. We got buy off for Austin's budget. We all agree to it. And, we really make this thing real. And then from there, maybe, Audie, you and I are working, or maybe it's just you working with Atlas or the form vendor of your choice. Let's get them going on shop drawings and, getting a comfort level, figuring out how much form work we need. With this board form that I think showed up in this drawings, I think we're going to have to carry a little bit more form work, I'm guessing, because the way I'm envisioning it is that, because it's on that tapered slope, we're going to need almost an extra set of lead side that kind of sits for the guys to install the board form on. So that way it can be picked up, set on top of that footing into place, and then the previous wall pour goes to the build-up area. They install the board form for the next wall sequence.
Yeah. What is the board form you're talking about?
Yeah, so it came, I'll show you.
I changed it back to plan A. I had plan B in there, so I just added another week in there. And I'm running with a week. I didn't see it in your tact for the toppings, Jeff, but I put a week per topping per level.
Feels about right. Yep.
It might be a little faster in the middle, a little slower than in the beginning. So.
Is it Chris that sent it? Find it. Oh. Right here. So supposedly, let me share my screen. Ooh, not this. There you go. So I think what their idea was is everything in green. Now I haven't gone and verified in these drawings that, I guess this is on PA 3.000, that they actually have. Side note, this side needs as also low. I don't know what that means, but
is that on the architectural drawings, or do they just put that in there like they want it?
That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe you could talk to Chris about that, Chris Ash, because it came from him.
Well, I'm not on that email.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can forward this to you for sure.
I don't like
that's not a problem.
My architectural things, Jeff. Doesn't make me look like a very good estimator if I can't do the one thing that we're supposed to be good at, right?
Well, at the same time, though, I don't know where this came from, right? This could be just something that, he was working with Gensler with, and it hadn't shown up on the drawing. So maybe we should price this as a kind of an ad alternate. Because if nobody else knows about this, I don't want to, inflate our price because we have this information.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that in the architecturals. So.
Okay, so then we definitely should follow up with Mr. Ash.
Well, and that's just one of those things where he knows, because of how the grades work out there, that he knows that he needs that there. So, or he wants that there.
Okay. Okay.
I'll put that on my list.
That works. And then the other things that are unknown is just kind of where they at in terms of, precast. I think, some of the grout couplers were dependent upon them for the delivery of. So these are questions as we get more involved, right? We can kind of dig into. I don't think we're necessarily dependent upon the waterproofer for backfill. This whole thing is going to be laid back. The one question I did have, if I go back here, share my screen again, is do we think that we're going to need access into the hole with a forklift or a crane? I assume probably like a 75-ton crane would be more than enough. We could probably facilitate all the wall picks around the perimeter. But for this inside, do we want to pull a pump in here, or do we want to try and do everything from that outside? I think some sort of access inside is going to be good, because just from a material management standpoint.
Do we need more than a forklift do we need a crane to do these walls then?
I don't know, Adi, what do you think, man? I mean, I think it'd be easier with a forklift, or excuse me, with a crane, with a small crane. But, we could do a lot of damage too, I'm sure, with a 12K, grade all with a jib on it. They are, 12-foot walls, I want to say?
Like 11 foot.
Yeah.
11.
Some of them are, there's like 114 on that elevator or whatever. The elevator is 14 and a half. That's the tallest one.
This bugger here?
Yeah. That's 14 and a half.
So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Does it make sense to try and what do you? Let me ask this: what do we usually do?
Forklift.
Forklift.
Yep.
Okay. And we're comfortable with it. I mean, the panels aren't going to be, wildly heavy by any means.
I think Atlas wise, you're going to be. I think your longest panel is going to be probably 12 footers.
And your average height for all those is only 10 and a half foot around that perimeter. So I think you're good.
Yeah, I think a forklift is fine.
Okay,
that's what I have in there. So
forklift with a jib attachment.
No, just make sure we have a hook.
A hook on the bottom of it?
Yep, we're good.
Okay.
How much is the hook?
That comes with the forklift.
Most of them come with the forklift.
Well, if we need to rent is that an additional rental? So if it comes with it, I have it plugged in as an Oakland.
Yeah, I wouldn't, if we needed a jib attachment, right, where you have, it's basically like a hook on the end of the forks, that would be an added rental. But if we're comfortable using just, the hook on the bottom of the mast, should be fine.
Do we know how far they're going to lay back that on the wall? It's not going to be that far, I would think.
No, I don't think it's going to be that far. I would probably guess 1.5 to 1, depending upon the grades. So
you'd have to be able to reach, I would say, 10 foot, if not more than that, right? Minimum.
Yeah, if we go from the outside, yep. Unless we could figure out a way to get a forklift down in the hole, right, with a ramp, and maybe we leave a little leave out someplace. Let's go to the walls here.
I think that makes sense. I'm assuming you're gonna have a ramp somewhere, so.
I think we are gonna want a ramp in someplace, and maybe we're leaving out a.
You leave out one wall sequence, and you're fine.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Adi?
Yeah, we're gonna need to get down in there. I mean, we got to get an excavator down there anyway.
for sure. Yep, totally agree.
Yes.
So maybe that path is what we kind of make our last wall sequence for.
Yep.
And I think that's as we get the building laid out and figure out the way of the land, we'll, identify. I don't think it can be these two shear walls. Maybe it's, something right next to the shear walls, or maybe it's something in the side here, but I think that's something we can organically figure out.
Efren, just to know that sequence 13, I think, needs to get broken, maybe 12 as well. And I think even 9 maybe. Those are a little too long.
Yep.
Maybe cut all those in half.
What's I'm just, for my own knowledge, what constitutes this being too long? Is it obviously lineal footage, but how many lineal foot are they right now?
200. It needs to be. Everyone tells me in Arizona we can only pour 90 foot at a time. So that's what everyone tells me.
Yeah, I don't know what the magic number is. I just try to, kind of do it on a yardage base, just to make sure that you're not, by the time you get to the other end of the wall, you going back here to do your other lift. It's not, doesn't take you an hour, 2 hours to get through one lift, but yeah. So is that something we do want to shorten up a little bit? Like if we looked at, and to be honest, I had a little trouble correlating, the colors. I'm not a color expert in terms of what's a cyan versus a light pink. So I got us close, but I figured that's something, Efren, you could probably tune up a little bit.
Well, there's a weird stuff on that, because back in the day, they would always change the sequences, and if you numbered them, then the numbers wouldn't be in the order, right? So that's why I went to colors, so it can be in whatever order you want.
And I'm hoping that as we continue to, on this journey together, we're collaborating with the GC, so we don't have to change the numbers of our sequences. So that way our plan is our plan, and the rebar guys delivering per our plan. But I don't know. So from what I'm seeing here, right, that pink wall, sequence 9, I think it's 100 lineal feet, which is okay, but versus this purple is, 200 lineal feet, which is sequence 13 maybe. Mm-hmm. But it is long, but really your main run is just here, right? So as long as that's not 200 feet, because the other part of the purple wall, you're pouring between two shear walls. So from a pour placement standpoint, you're pouring just this wall, right? You're going to top this bugger off, and then you come back and you're going to hit this short portion of the wall, or the wall between the two shear walls.
Well, the thing is, I just heard it's the standard because of the way the pressure works or whatever. You can't have that.
Pour pressure doesn't work in lengths. It's height. I know.
What's the rule, Cody? Cody, what's the rule? Please affect the
rule. Cody.
What's the freaking rule? He's acting all quiet. He's
multitasking.
They only let me, Robert and Cody, and they only let me do 90-foot run. So I don't know what to do.
I trust whatever you guys want to do. You guys have been, living it. I just want to make sure that we have a sequence that we can hand over to the iron workers that they can detail and deliver bar off of.
What's the rule on that? On the length of the wall?
Some jobs have a spec that you could only go, I think, 80 feet, but I didn't see anything. As long as we put control joints in it. For me, longer the better.
Yeah, and like in Utah, we'll do 150 foot.
Yeah.
Right, so I'd like to go a little longer. For our gear, for purposes of rotating our gear, I think 100 foot is fine.
I think what he's got colored and sequenced right now is good.
Well, here's the thing, Audie. I gave you basically 200 feet worth of gear. But the thing is that if you wanted to do that in one sequence, then you'd have to rotate 200 lineal feet of gear, which is 5,000 feet of gear, which means you need 10,000 if you want 2 sets. So I'm giving you 2 sets, if that makes sense. Of 100.
Really, we need, all right, if our longest wall is 100 feet, then we need 250 feet.
Yeah. So I gave you even some fluff, but what
Well,
Jeff
no.
is saying, if he wants to do the 200-foot wall, you need double that, right? So if you want gear to be able to rotate.
We just need 1.5 sets.
1.5 sets.
Oh, you want 1.5? Okay.
1.5 is my rule of thumb, unless your schedule has you working on multiple walls at once, and then that's going to dictate how much formwork we need. But if the way Plan A is one wall, you get it formed, right? You start working on the double up, but you have another set of lead side wall that you can get out ahead of yourself. So you just cycle the double up.
Okay, so we're gonna have 1.5 of our formwork up, and then what's our maximum pour we're gonna do? Well, as of today, what are we gonna say?
That long one.
You want to do the 190? The 190?
It shouldn't be 190, but
150.
Yeah, Efren, would you be willing to verify some of these? I want to make sure, because right now I'm seeing that maybe this orange one might be the longest. These little handset walls really don't count. The yellow I'm not worried about. Nothing. Even this pink I'm not worried about. This little purple, I don't think so. I think it's maybe checking this 12, maybe, and then maybe this leg of the 13. What's the lineal footage of those? Because from a yardage standpoint, I mean, we're pretty small yardage wise. I mean, if we look at even this purple one, that's 192 lineal feet. You're only 70 yards.
Yeah, but that can't be 190.
Yeah, right? Like, it doesn't.
So
Cody dropped something in the chat here. Typical daily lineal foot per crew. This is my typical wind review walls for Arizona, depending upon truck timing and crew sizes we typically use. So for 10 to 15 foot walls, looks like it's for a typical daily lineal foot per crew is 75 to 200 lineal feet a day.
And that's just for pouring. That's where we've been having our sweet spots and avoiding cold joints with truck timing. One thing we have issues with out here is we can't get trucks to come in time. We have bad service on a lot of times when we do that. So who's going to be our ready mix supplier when we do this?
Quikrete, Smart Marietta, or you have one other option. You have 3 options.
Oh, I like pushing at the larger pours. I like doing to the high side, but that's just what Robert always told me to basically run my estimates off of. That's why we stuck to about 95 for the 12-foot to 15-foot walls, especially on T-Bird. We kind of just cut it in the middle. But the only one I've gotten good service from is Quikrete, like Arizona Materials. Marietta, they'll screw you on your trucks every time. Yeah. So are these going to be... These aren't going to be seen, right? We don't have to really worry too much about cold joints?
For the architectural part that just got added.
Yeah, except for there is some board form that we think got added. I'm hoping maybe this was just a proposal that they wanted and then they're going to VE it out. But no, I think really the only thing that's going to be visual is just the inside.
Just the inside?
Okay. Yeah, because the outside will be backfilled and waterproofed. Yep.
Okay, so can we say 150? And do you want to revise that to 150, or do you want to go 200 and not revise it?
I'm good with 150 if y'all
are. If you're good with revising and you want to do the 150 as our maximum length, we can do that. So.
Yep. But for example, right? This purple, if we have this interrupted, this is its own wall pour, right? So it's 150 we're saying is the max lineal footage in a row. So
however it works out most efficiently, and you might have to move, everything might jog down, right? But I want it to be, every pour is kind of the same length average, right?
Yeah. Yep. So. Makes sense where we can. Yep.
Okay, I have a list of 3 things.
Let's do it. Let's look at it. You want to share your screen?
honestly not even that big of a deal. Or 150. Okay, two of them are for you, Jeff. Competitive labor rate, what is that going to be?
Yep.
I have, our billable rates in there on these Suntech jobs. They're significantly cheaper than us. And what I wanted to start doing as well with Zach, on every job that we finish, I want to figure out what was our true average labor rate between, a level 1 carpenter and a level 3 carpenter, different levels of finishers, right? They all have charged differently. They all have different, insurance, compounding, whatever. So I think going forward in the future, when we need to be competitive on these jobs, we can look back at our old jobs and be like, oh, on this job, our real average that we really spent, like at Mesa City Hall was, $42, right? So that's where we can get really competitive, but we have to, so if you can help me with that, come up with a labor rate that we think we can live with, but that we can
absolutely
go beat Suntech with at the same time, that would be really good. And I know what I think that is. And Chris has his own interpretation of that. Rob has his own interpretation. So that's really important. We'll work on that.
Maybe then, Monday when we get into town, me and Chris can sit down and figure that out.
Sure. And I know what I'm going to ask for and kind of what I want to sit at, but in the future, the way we could push it even farther is by knowing really where our jobs sit at, historically. So on that labor rate. So that would be cool. The second one is I'm going to give you a preliminary copy of my GRGCs for just the garage. I'm not going to give you my direct costs yet. I'm still working on it. That'll have the total duration with the toppings in it and based on your plan A, right? But we want to see what we can take out of the GRDC and have them cover it on the GC side, because it does not make sense to run a general superintendent on the GC side plus a concrete superintendent. I feel like that's too much. Sense. There's no, they're not doing finishes, right? None of that, right? It's a garage, so there's no point for them to double that up. And sure, maybe there might be some overlap, right? If they need to bring on that superintendent after structure's done, right? They can kind of roll over. There might be some overlap, but we need to talk about that.
Totally.
So if you can do those two, that would help me out. And then Cody and Juan, they already know that they're working on this for me, but I need a final average thickness for the topping. And it's based on this note right here. So I just want to make sure we understand our sloping and drainage requirements, so that I can get our correct yards in there. I don't want to be off because it's a lot of yards. It's 6,000 yards on that topping.
So. Yeah, and on that, did Chris ever send y'all the specs?
No, you requested it and he said it's not out yet, which makes no sense.
So. He said sometime this week. I didn't know because Jeff and the other Chris got Chris to send them those PA sheets. I didn't know if they got a copy of the specs as well.
I have not seen the specs yet, no.
Okay.
This is kind of one where the construction design isn't quite going to be there when we need it.
Gotcha.
We're going faster than they can design.
Well yeah, a little bit.
Since Audie and Jeff are on this, let me go ahead and ask this real quick. So for a 3 1/4 inch minimum normal weight, we were talking about just running 4 inches across the hole, not really having to bump to 5+ waste, but 4 inches plus a 5% waste factor. I mean, it's like pouring a deck, but you have no drop in it. So there really shouldn't be that much additional concrete that goes on it.
I get worried about minimum. So if we have to slope it for drainage and we're responsible for drainage and it doesn't drain right because we didn't put enough yards up there, I feel bad as an estimator for not getting you enough budget, and then you feel like you need to go place it thin, and then you mess up grades, right? And then we have a huge issue, right? So
we poured a thickness on topping slabs for precast. We don't pour any additional. So sloping, you're gonna have less concrete when it goes down.
Yeah, as long as I just haven't done them, so.
Yeah, so running it at 4 inches and then you slope from there, you're fine because it's like a metal deck. You pour to thickness, you don't pour to flatness. So you're not going to have that much of a difference. So that's why I said run it at 4 with the 5% waste.
There's no camber, so.
Yeah, because, it's all concrete. You're not going to have any drop.
Okay. Do I need to clarify it, or we just want to run with that in the background?
It doesn't hurt to clarify it. Right. It's just, hey, we're planning for an average thickness of 4 inches. And I think, hey, maybe just call Juan and get his take on it. If he feels that, hey, if our minimum is 3 1/4, should we plan for for 4 inches.
I would just argue anytime, with the exception of caissons that we have in overage, we usually just keep it in the background. And I would say that that's how all the other concrete companies do it too. The caissons just, they have like double overage, right? Sometimes. So that's where it gets really high.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to put this on here and then they start, picking it apart and making it a big deal. So just because that's a concrete thing, it's not really a thing a GC estimator is ever going to think too hard about. But
No, but I mean, to your point, Joel did chase the concrete credit because he felt like what we specified didn't go. So
okay, so we'll clarify it. Let's see how it goes. I usually over clarifying. I feel like it's not a bad.
It's not a bad thing.
I'm gonna put average thickness as well. So
yeah,
it'll keep us all honest. Okay, that's all I have. And then I even can say if additional thickness is required, additional costs can occur. So
yeah, you can run that 4 inches at a 5% waste still, right?
Huh?
You're gonna run that 4 inches at a 5% waste still, right?
5%. Yeah.
We still got to have waste on it for sure. Absolutely.
Yep, always. Additional. I can't type that. Let's read. All right, that's all I have. I need to do a lot of cleanup. My estimate, but by Monday morning, I'll probably have some more questions and I'll probably be closer. Do we have like a goal number, like in the 5 million range?
Nope, I think plug it in based on what you know, and then I think we can do an estimate review and see what we can fine tune.
But these two are going to affect our number hugely.
They will.
Like these two items, Jeff. So any help you want with it from me, any backup you want, I can help you with. But I have a lot of insight, I feel like. So between the both of us, let's make it happen. So
yeah, I love it.
Okay.
That's a good idea. And then Ephraim, when do you think you're going to have the bandwidth to make these the slight modifications? Because now let's go ahead and change the footings, change the walls, all that stuff for our lift drawings, and then make sure we have the quantities associated with each of the sequences. Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, if you could, that would open the door, get all of our I's dotted, T's crossed on Monday, and then Tuesday it's, hopefully meeting with Glenn and the team out there.
So and don't worry about, I don't need that updated lift drawing to finish my estimate. I just wanted to make sure that we're all good with the topping slab sizes as well. We're good with that, those pour breaks and everything. So
yeah, I didn't see any challenges with those. I mean, it's really kind of what Juan's able to do.
Yeah, and Juan looked at it. I think we're good there. What else? That's it. We'll talk on Monday. I'm gonna send you a copy of the GRDCs, Jeff.
Do it.
Good. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Cool. Appreciate it, guys.
All right. And Jeff, the only other thing is anytime on GRs that we don't have to charge for something additionally, it's like Suntech, if they're not going to charge for something, it helps us a lot of times too. If we could be like, okay, we own that piece of equipment or what, if it's a rental, little thing, whatever. It's those little things we just add up over time,
It all adds up 100%.
Okay.
We're on the same page.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Appreciate it, y'all.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Yeah, we're going.